Let's talk about why you keep playing small. As a survivor of childhood trauma, we had a million reasons not to show up for ourselves and not to shine. We were taught, whether it was through words, neglect, or unspoken rules, that our needs didn't matter, that our voice was too much, or that our presence was an inconvenience. We learned to dim our light not because we weren't meant to shine, but because we were trying to survive. Growing up in homes where sarcasm, abuse, neglect, or constant criticism were the norm, we didn't have the support, the safety, or even permission to be extraordinary, to be gifted, to take up space, to love ourselves, to own our authenticity. Instead, we learned to shrink, to stay small and avoid attention because attention meant risk. Attention meant getting hurt in some way. We learned to question our brilliance, to second guess our intuition, and to silence the parts of us that long to be seen, making it really hard to truly trust ourselves. But the truth is, we were never meant to stay hidden. We were born to embrace the gifts we were blessed with. We were born to be seen, to stand boldly in our truth, to be heard, to step fully into a space that's always been ours, to shine as bright as ever, knowing our worth. Maybe you stayed quiet so you wouldn't be ridiculed. Maybe you became an overachiever, proving your worth by what you could do, not who you were. Maybe you numbed out because feeling nothing was safer than feeling everything. But here's the truth. You cannot keep suppressing yourself and expect to feel whole. The parts of you that you've buried, the dreams, the desires, the voice that was silenced, they are still there, waiting. Healing is about reclaiming who you were before those responsible for your care convinced you that you had to be less. It's about stepping back into your own light, your truth, embracing every piece of yourself and daring to take up space, your space, without an apology. You are not here to be small. You are here to be fully, boldly, unapologetically you. The fact that you learned to survive in the way that you did is proof of your resilience, not your weakness. You did what was necessary then, but now you can choose a different path. As children, we were powerless against our caretakers, but now you have a choice. You can continue to shrink, to let fear dictate your steps, to avoid discomfort and stay within limits that the trauma of your childhood imposed on you, or you can decide that you are worthy of so much more, that you are ready to break the cycle of playing small. You can step into truly healing into the full, unapologetic version of yourself that was silenced in your suffering, where you no longer seek permission to exist, but instead embrace the power that is within you today. And it's a power we're born with. It's our voice, our truth, and our authenticity. The parts of you that were silenced, they're not lost. They've been waiting. They're buried deep within your soul, ready to be seen, loved, and nurtured. And I know this past firsthand because I've walked it. You have to decide that you will silently step out of a race you never chose to run, and claim your rightful space, settle into that space where you can safely begin to heal. The moment you choose healing, you choose yourself, your truth, your voice, your freedom. And from this space, you begin to reclaim what was taken from you, your voice, your truth, and your power. I'm Carrie McKenna Reese, a trauma recovery coach and accredited complex trauma instructor, dedicated to helping you navigate the deep, messy, confusing, and often scary process of healing. I know what it's like to live in survival mode, to tiptoe around my own emotions, to disregard my own needs, to believe I had to stay small, to stay silent, to bury the truth about what had happened or what was happening just to make it through the day, not realizing that in doing so, I was also denying my own worth. I also know what it's like to break free from that, to finally breathe, to listen to what my soul was telling me, to honor myself, to trust myself, to set firm boundaries and build a life not rooted in the past, but rather rooted in the truth, not the words or actions of those that have deeply hurt me. So if you've ever felt trapped in old patterns, scared to be seen, or unsure if healing is even possible, today's talk is for you. Let's dive into really what's going on when you play small and how you can finally stop. Number one is trauma trained you to stay small, but you're not that kid anymore. You're not in that same space, and you no longer have to live by the rules or the unhealthy coping mechanisms that once kept you safe. You no longer have to conform to the expectations of other people. You no longer have to negotiate yourself, your needs, your love, your values, your worth. Today, you have the authority to make significant changes, to shift the dynamic of your life, to redefine it, to set boundaries that reflect your worth and demand the respect that you deserve. This is truly how we teach others how to properly love and respect us. The brain does whatever it needs to do to keep us alive. That is its mission. It is wired for survival, constantly assessing danger and responding in ways to protect us. But here's the thing. Trauma is sneaky. Our brain does the most developing in the first 8 years of our life. And if we're in a neglectful, abusive home where we don't feel safe, our brain convinces us that playing small is the only safe choice. It constantly screams in the background, if I don't stand out, I won't get hurt. If I don't express my needs, I won't be rejected. If I stay quiet, they'll leave me alone. And maybe that was the case back then. It was how I learned to survive in my family. Swallowing my emotions must have felt like the only option because I was choking down my own feelings by the age of 4 and found myself exploding into uncomfortable fits when they were just too much to swallow. But as an adult, those same survivor patterns you used as a kid, they no longer protect you. They trap you, they confine you, and they come at a huge cost, a cost that is heavier than you probably realize. Because here's what playing small really costs you. You stay in unfulfilling relationships because speaking up feels dangerous. You tell yourself it's easier to keep the peace, even at the cost of your own happiness. It's all about keeping them happy, making sure their needs come first while you silently suffer in the background. You hold back your ideas at work because confidence feels unnatural. It feels scary. You doubt your worth. You feel like a phony or a fraud, questioning whether your voice truly matters in a room or at all for that matter. You wonder if you even deserve to be there, afraid that if you speak out, your thoughts will be dismissed or ridiculed. You convince yourself you're not ready for the life you want. You're not good enough for it, worthy enough. So you never take action. Fear constantly whispers that you need more time, more skill, more validation before you can begin, keeping you stuck right where you are. You watch opportunities pass by, telling yourself maybe someday, while deep down you wonder if someday will ever come. This is what trauma does. It teaches you to fear your own expansion, your life, your own thoughts, authentic connection, love. But you're not a child anymore. You may at times feel like one, but you're not a child anymore. You are safe now. And for your own health and well being, it is best to heal so you are not living the way you were forced to as a child. Now, let's talk about why your triggers make you withdraw. If you have complex PTSD, then you already know people are triggering, not just in an emotional way, but in a psychological nervous system way. When someone ignores you, criticizes you, or crosses a boundary, your brain doesn't just register it as a bad moment, it registers it as a threat because as a child, the emotions of a bad moment were not nurtured. The threat or injustice you suffered as a child was unresolved. The wound of that betrayal, it was never healed, leaving your nervous system on high alert. And your body today reacts to those triggers in real time as if what you suffered as a child is happening now, as if you are being lied to now, cheated on now, deceived now, talked about now, disrespected now, dismissed now, ignored now, abandoned now. Then your adrenaline, it floods your system, you're in survival mode. Your reasoning shuts down and emotions surge like a violent storm, sweeping away all logic, all rational thinking. And suddenly you're either lashing out, hurting yourself and those around you, or you are shutting down entirely, disappearing into numbness, disassociating from your soul so you don't have to feel anything at all. And then you regret what you said. You feel ashamed of your actions, your reactions. You withdraw even further, convinced it's safer to stay small. Can you relate to any of that? Does any of that sound familiar? I know this cycle because I've lived it. I've sat feeling the anger build when I felt ignored. I swallowed that anger down, terrified of what might happen if I let it out. Not being nurtured as a child, I didn't understand my feelings or emotions and I didn't know how to manage them. I've kept quiet when I knew I should have spoken up because I didn't trust myself to find the words. I've let unfair things slide, not because I didn't care, but because I didn't trust myself to handle the storm of emotions that speaking up might unleash. But in all honesty, silence didn't protect me, it only kept me small. What I've learned is that healing doesn't mean eliminating triggers, our feelings or our emotions. It means gaining the strength to navigate them with clarity and confidence. It means you learn how to regulate your nervous system and understand your emotions so you can stand fully in the space you've reclaimed, a space built on self-trust, boundaries, and the truth of who you are today, and responding without fear. Now, let's talk about the cost of staying in blame. The cost here is huge, but before I say anything more, let me be clear. What happened to you was not your fault. The people who hurt you, who abused you, who ignored you, who abandoned you, they are responsible for what they did. However, if you're still waiting for them to fix it, you're giving away your power and allowing them to continue to have control over your life. Waiting for an apology that may never come or hoping they will one day acknowledge their harm keeps you tied to their actions. They cannot undo what they've done. They cannot change the pain you've carried or the pain you're carrying today. I explore this topic in even more depth in my video, The Abusers Are Gone, but the Hurt Still Needs Healing. I discuss why moving forward is about reclaiming your life, not waiting for closure from those who hurt you. It's on us to clean up their mess, and that is absolutely not fair. We don't deserve the burden, but you are the only one who can learn how to heal you and break free. And when you focus on the past, you stay stuck in the past. When you focus on healing, you start changing your future. Healing means learning the lie that you ever deserve the abuse and the pain in the first place. It means unlearning that, right? You have to unlearn that lie. And I want that for you so bad. There's also the brain fog that keeps you stuck. If you feel like you can't focus, can't follow through, and can't seem to take action, you're not lazy. That's trauma. Trauma impacts our executive functioning. These are the mental processes that control things like planning, organizing, and initiating tasks. We sometimes have task paralysis where we feel overwhelmed and unable to start or complete a task even when we want to. When your nervous system is dysregulated, your brain goes into survival mode, which can exhaust mental energy and lead to emotional shutdown, making it difficult to focus and take action. That means you struggle to make plans, every decision feels overwhelming, and even the simplest choices leave you feeling mentally exhausted. You procrastinate even on things you want to do because deep down taking action feels like a risk and your brain is wired to avoid it. You feel like your intelligence is slipping away. You can't remember things as well as your thoughts feel like they're scattered, and what once felt easy now takes significant effort. This is what trauma does. It impacts your ability to function, making even daily tasks feel like mountains to climb. But understanding this is the first step towards reclaiming control. I remember times knowing exactly what I needed to do, whether it was a project at work or at home or planning a vacation, but feeling like my brain was broken. I just couldn't focus or concentrate, and I blamed myself. I told myself I was failing, that I was damaged. I wasn't. I was just dysregulated. I wasn't giving myself the self-care I needed. And when I learned how to calm my nervous system, how to regulate my emotions, my focus came back. You can get yours back too. It starts with small intentional steps, learning to regulate your nervous system, practicing grounding techniques, and giving yourself grace in the process. Now, there's also the fear of being seen. So I wanted to talk about that for a minute and how to break free. For so long, I was terrified of being seen. I worried about saying or doing the wrong thing. I worried that all the secrets I'd been forced to keep would get out. I worried about being judged. I worried about being rejected. I worried about losing the love and respect of those around me. So I kept silent and I kept my thoughts and ideas to myself. The result was that I wasn't rejected. I wasn't seen at all. And that kind of invisibility, it has its own kind of pain. Being unseen didn't protect me. It only reinforced the belief that I didn't matter. If you want to heal, you have to do the thing that terrified me the most, and that's take up space. Remember that space I talked about reclaiming earlier? That's what I'm speaking to. Healing means taking up your space even when it's uncomfortable because your voice, your presence, and your story deserves to be heard. It means speaking up even when your voice shakes because your truth matters and the world needs to hear it. Setting boundaries even when people push back because honoring yourself is not up for negotiation. It's allowing yourself to be seen even when every part of you wants to disappear because you are worthy of taking up space, of being recognized, and of standing fully in you, in your power, because this is your life. And I pray that you start living it on your terms. The world does not benefit from your silence. It benefits from your healing. It benefits from you sharing your soul. Healing is a journey, and every step you take is a step towards reclaiming yourself. It's not about perfection because a lot of trauma survivors are perfectionists. It's about progress, and you are already on your way. So this is your moment. You have already shown incredible strength by making it this far. Healing isn't about rushing ahead, it's about taking the next step that's right for you, one moment at a time. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to be fearless. You just have to begin. So take a deep breath, trust yourself, and remember you are worthy of taking up space, of speaking your truth, of living a life that feels like your own. You already survived the worst as a child. Now it's time to step forward in your own way, at your own pace. Before we close, I want to acknowledge how hard this journey can be. Healing is not linear, and stepping into your power can feel terrifying at times. But I want you to know that what you're feeling is valid and you are seen, heard, and supported. Every step you take, no matter how small, it's a step towards reclaiming yourself, your voice, and your truth. I see you, I honor your strength, and I believe in your ability to create the life you deserve. I would love to hear from you. So, in the comments below, please share with me what is one small step you can take today to honor yourself and step into your power. If this message resonated with you, please share it with someone who might need to hear it. Your healing creates a ripple effect in the world. And if you haven't already done so, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss a new video. Thank you for being here, for showing up for yourself, and for choosing healing. You're not alone in this. You're capable. You are worthy. And I cannot wait to see the incredible person you are becoming. You got this, and I'm right here with you.